Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for being here. Everybody in the chat is already going off. James Tillman, do you know where you're at right now? Thank you for being here. PJ, first time watching the live stream. Well, thanks for stopping in. How's everybody doing tonight? Anyone bought any good photo books lately? I have ordered two, but they're not in yet. As soon as they're in, we'll take a look at them together. Lisa Sorgini, I believe is how it's pronounced. I think the book was called In Passing. I ordered that from Baltimore Photo Space and The Weight of Ash by Ian Bates. Those were the two books I ended up ordering. So, oh, good to hear, Charles. Awesome. Glad they made it back to you. Timothy, what's up, dude? Good seeing you. Jim, Raphael, everybody. Thought we would do something a little different to get started. I need to coat a bunch of paper to make some cyanotypes this week, and or weekend maybe. And I thought I would do it on here and just answer some questions while I was at it, as well as answer any questions about this, if anyone has any. Debating on buying a different film. What do you normally shoot? Blue Laugh. Bought a lot of novels, but no photo books. Hell, it's been over a year since I broke out my camera. Hey, it happens to all of us going through. I've never gone that long. I've managed to not go that long altogether, but I've had many periods where I didn't feel like picking up the camera for sure. Great Vanzini, good to see you. This is another aspect of cyanotypes that I really haven't explored, is just the different kinds of watercolor paper. I always buy whatever is cheap and just use that. But one of these days I'll experiment with getting some different paper types. Yo, I'm hearing that Canon is getting ready to release their own retro style camera fashioned after the AE1. I mean, with the popularity of the ZF, obviously all of the X100 cameras like really popularized. I mean, people say that like Leica cameras originated that because they've always looked that way, but Fuji were the ones to like take a modern accessible camera. So that system, the ZF, Olympus, or now it's called OM system. Does anyone know what happened with that? I saw everybody started posting the OM system reviews, and no one said Olympus like once in any of the videos, so there must have been some kind of legal thing. So we're mixing equal parts of potassium ferrocyanide and ferric ammonium citrate here. So I'm mainly a musician. I learned how to shoot for being on the road. Then I would always leave my camera bag at home. I miss it. That's rad. Like, I always love hearing that's like a common thing with skateboarding. People that travel the world being pro skateboarders, they pick up a camera. And I think a lot of musicians as well, that seems to be a common theme. I normally like black and white, but I was thinking Lomachrome 92. I have Lomachrome Metropolis in my camera currently. I think I tried Metropolis when it came out, if I remember right, and I wasn't crazy about it. The Lomachrome 92, I had some photos that I really liked, but it was definitely like, those colors work well when used intentionally, and I was just shooting them like just to test it out and see how it performed. But I mean, yeah, that would, if you normally shoot black and white and you want to shoot color, those are definitely some like uncommon color, I guess. You know what I mean? My charger is also stretched across. I moved things around a little bit. Yeah, you know, it happened. It's whatever. I think it was a corporate restructuring of divisions within Olympus. That makes sense. I mean, I guess I'm not good with corporate stuff, but that makes sense. All right, here we go. So let me grab a negative. Let me step over the cord. Maybe. Let's do, yeah. Knocking stuff over out here. Greetings from Argentina. Well, thanks for stopping in. So, if the negative, which is backwards, is about that big. Okay. Gives me a rough idea. It's never exact when I do this, but I'm just going to pour a little bit out here. I probably should have like soaked this brush first before I got started because it's a little stiff, but we'll just start working with it. Brian, seems like everyone is talking about the Hasselblad today. Yes, the new X2D 100C Mark II is out, and I have not checked one out or anything. I haven't been reached out, you know, about it. Obviously, Hasselblad sponsored a video about a year ago where I was using the original X2D, and one of my main complaints with the camera are just things that I was like, I really hope they do something, is add a little like joystick for your thumb, because that would just make navigating the camera and moving the focus point much better than having to use the touch screen. And I was happy to see that they did change that on the new model. The new model is also cheaper somehow. Still obviously a lot of money, but it's cheaper than the first X2D. And what else? Oh, it has LiDAR autofocus, like LiDAR continuous autofocus. And I'd be very curious to see how that works in real time. Whoops. Got a little bit more there. We'll just start branching this out a little bit. I'm trying, I normally do like half of this when I code it, but I want to try and see what the results would be like if I double it up, just to see how the blues, if I get any like richer blues that way. But yeah, the X2D, it's exciting to see them evolving that camera and like, again, working on the things, because the autofocus was another one of the hangups with the camera. To be expected, like most medium format cameras aren't going to be the fastest autofocus, but if the LiDAR is as good as it seems like it is, at least, that's a pretty solid jump forward. The OM System brand is no longer part of Olympus Corporation. Olympus sold its camera and imaging division in 2021 to a new company, OM Digital Solutions, and retained only a small percentage of shares. Damn. OM System. Just an interesting name. It makes sense. Be like if Nikon came out with new cameras and it was like Z System, Z8. The M System. All right, well, this didn't go nearly as... I think it's going to be all right, but there's still a lot that's pooled up here. Maybe I didn't need to double it. What's up, Bamron? Thanks for stopping in. We are coating some paper for some cyanotypes. Not going to be printing any on the stream, although that would be pretty rad. I have a little like overhead UV light that I can do cyanotypes with, but it's a lot slower than doing it, in the sun. So, but if we did a daytime stream sometime, and I could just literally open up the barn doors here, that'd be fun. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Because now would be a good time if you got any random questions that you're wanting to ask. Gear questions, camera or technique questions, photography questions, whatever. Let me know. Sorry if it's a sore subject, but did you ever find your cat? Yes, I did. It's not a sore subject at all. I appreciate you asking. But yes, she came home 5 days after she took off that one night. So we were super happy to have her back. I think she learned her lesson. She looked like she had seen some things. But yeah, she's doing good. She looked like she had lost a little bit of weight. She definitely doesn't have the credibility to be out on her own like she was when we found her. She's gotten used to being pampered. So, yeah, but she's doing good now. Hey, Spider, what's going on? No question, but please convince me to quit shooting film. Here's the thing. I would love to be able to help with that. I've shot much less film this year than I normally would, I would say. I mean, probably so. I've mostly been using the Z8 this year for work, but also for personal stuff and just getting more and more familiar with that camera. I've tried really hard to, I guess, embrace everything that digital has to offer. And I've tried really hard to just convince myself that I don't need to bounce back and forth and I don't need to worry about shooting film and I can just do it all consistently and shoot digital and it doesn't matter. But I shot 2 rolls of film today and it was real fun. And every time I do, I'm like, oh yeah, this is why, It's never when I'm looking at film that needs developed or when I have to scan film or when I have to buy film. All of that, I'm like, this is so dumb that I'm still doing this. I've got a digital camera that is just far surpasses even what I thought digital cameras would become. You know what I mean? They've just gotten so good at every single thing. And it's why would I not use that all of the time if I have that at my disposal? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's really fun. Every time I shoot film, I'm like, just the I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's the fact that I can't. I'm limited in my choices. That probably has a decent amount to do with it. You know, I'm able to just make a decision and move forward rather than dwell on it. So I'd say that probably has something to do with it. But yeah, I'm no help with this because, like I said, I actually today the 2 rolls that I finished were Kentmere 200. So that's the first time I've used that film. Excited to develop it tomorrow. Javier, what's up? I do not think I'm the best at that, but I appreciate that. Let's see. At this point, I'm only shooting film for medium format. Just has a look I can't beat with my Nikon. You know, I fully get that. I don't have any medium format camera right now, which is odd for me. But I was looking at, it was photos of Peach when she was a puppy. I was wanting to see videos of her when she was little because I just forget how small she was when we got her. And the week we got her, I shot a roll of Gold 200 in the RZ. And I was looking at those scans it was either yesterday or today. And I was like, man, that every time. Again, it's like you forget. I was looking at that and I'm like, damn, no wonder that's always been one of my favorite cameras. I just love those Mamiya lenses, and yeah, 6x7, medium format in general, but yeah, 6x7, I just love it. Tim, have you ever used the Lights collapsible lenses on your M6? Looking for a budget-friendly 50, and those Elmars are 300. You know, I don't think I've ever tried any of those on the M6, but I think if I remember right, there was one of the maybe it was the digital ones that you couldn't use the collapsible, like the old digital M's, you couldn't use the collapsible lenses. I can't remember, but I remember that being a thing, like just being cautious about that, and I think that pushed me away, if that makes sense. Like that made me hesitant to try it, but I mean they're well known and like well established lenses for a reason. You know what I mean? I'm sure they would be great, especially for $300. If you can get any M-mount lens for that price, you know, and it's reputable in terms of like either the maker or knowing, you know, if the lens has been serviced or if it's been taken care of. I just got that Voigtlander 35 color Scopar back for a couple $100 and just crazy good value. I was thinking I'd like to try some of the Voigtlander lenses on the Z system as well. Like one of the manual focus Z mount lenses from Voigtlander on the ZF. I feel like that could fix me. Yeah, that's a lot of that pulling up on there. That might look rad if I did that intentionally and just let some of it run down. Damn, yeah, I did not mean to use that much. You can see the technique here. It's not real dialed in. I wing it every time I sit down. When do you know a project becomes a long project or a quick exercise of the mind? If it keeps my interest long enough, or if I don't know if there are variables, if there are things that could change over that time, then that might give me incentive to kind of pump the brakes and let it breathe a little bit. Maybe just, give it more time. However, let's see. Whoops. Okay. Nothing spilled. Trying to decide. I mean, I think it depends on, like, also, if you're going to share it and make something long term, is it going to be worth long term? I mean, obviously you should shoot for yourself, but if you're wanting to make a project about something, I would assume it's because you want people to see that. You know what I mean? Like, you're wanting to share it, so I mean, yeah, if it keeps you interested like more than a day, keep thinking about it and, consider it. But if it's just a quick, I shouldn't say a day, but you get what I mean. Like, if you find yourself thinking about it a lot, then it's probably worth just pumping the brakes and giving it time. If you find yourself, like, if the idea of giving it more time, if that in itself, if you're like, ugh, then don't even bother. You know what I mean? Just trust your gut on that. What's up? Good evening. What are you working on? I am coding some paper to make some cyanotypes. Hopefully this week or this weekend. And I'm going to make a video as I do it, just to kind of share the process. Was debating on getting rid of most of my Canon and Fuji digital equipment and getting the X2D2. Film, just shooting the RZ and Daddy Day M6. Got rid of the other stuff, trying to narrow down the kit. I'm all for that. I'm all for narrowing things down and trying to make intentional choices with your gear in terms of, like, what you're going to be shooting with it, and trying to have a purpose, trying to not just collect for the sake of collecting. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm sure we've got some collectors here watching, but I think it just depends on the person. I get overwhelmed with choice, and so if I'm constantly thinking, well, I could use this or I could use that, that's just going to get in the way for me. But that's not the case for everybody. Some people, they can have a wall full of cameras and they can just walk in and be like, I want to shoot this today, and just pick it up and go. I am just not able to, like, I've switched cameras a bunch, just in terms of, like, wanting to try different things, but that's the reason I switch, because I'm not collecting, like, I'm not that you're not using them if you're collecting them, but I'm saying I don't have the money or the ability mentally to have that many cameras. You know what I mean? Like, if I really want to try a camera that bad, then I'm going to need to sell a camera to fund it. It's never about, like, oh, I'm choosing this brand over that brand. You know what I mean? Yeah, you swap them out, but I can't just pick up a camera and, get to work if I'm not, I don't know, because it's not like the cameras are complicated, but it's like I just like the feeling of having the same thing that I'm using all of the time. I like that sort of, I don't know, just familiarity and not really having to think about it much. Like, I don't know. And also just the same, like, using the same journal for a long time, same pair of boots for a long time, same, it's that type of thing where I like being able to just stick with the one thing that goes with me everywhere. Is that dumb and romantic? Yeah, probably. But, Gregory, what's up? Saw your video out today and looking forward to you building out your barn for developing film. Thank you, Jim. I've got a ways to go. I mean not terribly. We're gonna frame out this wall, and my friend Matt is gonna come help get the water going out here, but still, I look at it and just think about all of that still needing to get done, and it just stresses me out. But in time, kids are back in school, and I've been sort of filming a vlog over the last couple of days, just talking about a couple things in regards to photography that have been on my mind, and then also just going out shooting a little bit during the day. Going to develop some film tomorrow, so that'll probably be up over the weekend, I would say. Familiarity and knowing how it's going to handle different situations. Yeah, exactly. Especially, I don't know. I don't. The last thing I want to do if I see something that I want to shoot is be fumbling around with the camera and being like, oh, what setting do I have it in, or whatever. And I guess that's really more of a digital thing than a film thing in terms of like different settings. But yeah, still. I also have never been one to have like multiple cameras going so that I can shoot color in this and black and white in that. Like I have on trips and for specific occasions, but I know people that like every day they're carrying two cameras, one color, one black and white, or maybe it's two different color films, two different black and white films. I don't have that kind of, like if I'm shooting color, or yeah, I guess nowadays if I shoot digital, it's mostly because I'm looking for the color, because I'm not really a big fan of 35 millimeter color film. If I'm going to shoot color film, I'm going to use medium format for the most part, unless I just literally have to use 35. So yeah, if I'm going out for color for the day, it's really never with film. But I'm the same way. I have one camera and two lenses, but use one of those lenses 95% of the time. Yeah, that's I've got a 35 and a 50 for my Z8. I've got a 35 and a 50 for my FM2. And I've got a 35 for my M6. So Nikon did just release an updated 24-70 2.8 that is lighter and all like internal zoom, like internal moving parts. The lens itself doesn't extend out, which is just nice. And again, the fact that it's lighter. I think for work scenarios, that's probably a lens I would like to buy eventually. Definitely not right now, but unless I'm doing something for work, which even then I mostly just use a 35 or 50, but that's obviously not going to be usable for every single job out there. But yeah, most of the time, I stick to 35. I carry too many cameras. One camera, one lens would be a dream. My shoulder and back would rejoice. Try it out. Give yourself like a challenge. Tell yourself you can only do one camera, one lens for a week. If that gives you heart palpitations just by hearing me say a week, try half a week, Try walking around the block just a few times with just one camera and one lens and nothing else, and trust that no matter what you see, that's going to be that's going to be fine. You know what I mean? Don't tell yourself that you're going to have every possible option, because that's how we get into this in the first place, Honestly, lately I've toyed with the idea of offloading my MA for some sort of digital, especially since I have an M3 that I love using a 50 with. Yeah, 50 on the M3. Can't ask for much more than that. Um, my buddy Nathan has the MA and he loves it. What do you think of those re-spooled films? I mean, it's not really. I don't really care one way or the other. I don't really shoot that much color film to begin with, like I said. So I there's nothing against it, or I don't have anything against it. Um, it was kind of funny a couple years ago when Cinestill was like, "Hey, you can't do that. We do that." But I don't know. That was a weird thing. I mean, yeah. I guess I don't really have anything to say. Unfortunately, I'm trying to think of something to say, but like something useful. But I really don't know if I have anything to say about those, just because I don't have much experience with them. Um, yeah, a lot of times they're respooling Kodak or Fuji films, and uh, I don't know if I'm gonna buy color film. Most of the time, I'm probably gonna buy something like Kodak Gold. Uh, Probably not Portra 400 because I'm not paying 2025 prices. Me personally, for the amount and the interest that I have in color film, just not for me. But that reminds me, that was the question I saw a minute ago. I meant to get back to it, and then I couldn't remember which question it was, and then I couldn't find it. The Leica mono film. So Leica has a film, and I don't have much info on it. I was told about it earlier in the summer, like, hey, we've got something that's coming out. If you'd like to know about it. And I said yes. And then I was told about it, but haven't gotten any of the film. I asked if I could get some film because I was like, I would love to try that out, but I did not. So I think they've got a pretty short supply right now. So they said when they do get more, they'll send me some to try out, but I haven't tried it yet. I've heard people say it is, was it an ADOX film? I think I saw someone say that I mean, and who knows the, accuracy of it, because I literally saw the headline and that was it. But, or the caption, whatever. Someone was saying that it was supposedly a black and white film from ADOX that was being respooled as Leica film, but I have no idea. I dream of someone releasing a 1600 color film again. Yeah, my brother bought me a roll of Natura 600 or 1600 in like 2012, I want to say. Didn't know anything about it. Was just like, yeah, saw this film on this website, and you said you wanted film, so and that was it. And it was just one roll, and I shot it, and it was awesome. But yeah, afterwards, I looked it up, and I was like, holy shit, you bought you bought that? It's definitely not cheap. Are chemicals spendy these days to develop black and white film? No. No, I mean, maybe at first it might seem like you've got to buy a lot of stuff, but that's like the upfront cost. You know what I mean? After you buy what you have, you are going to start saving money pretty quick when it comes to the developing cost. If you could only watch one YouTube channel for photography inspiration, which would it be? No photo books or zines, just YouTube. I will cheat and say Alex Soth's YouTube because I'll get my photo books and zines through his YouTube channel. But no, if you're talking like people who discuss photography, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't really watch any photography content on YouTube. And that's really just because I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't. I know I do it. I make YouTube videos, but I I don't know. I don't think about photography when I think about what I want to watch on YouTube, unless it is like a portrait, a video profile on a photographer I really like. Uh, Louisiana Channel, or is that what it's called? The Louisiana Channel. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? They post videos of artists all the time, not just photographers. They just did a really good one with Ed Templeton. There's a good one with Paul Graham from a long time ago. I think it's called the Louisiana Channel. But yeah, really good stuff. But yeah, like people going out and taking photos, like I never watch stuff like that. All I really watch on YouTube, let's see, a lot of podcasts. Listen to podcasts on YouTube. I'm trying to think. Now I'm like blanking. Yeah, I guess it really is mostly podcasts. Oh, okay. Yes, Fuji is rebranded Gold and Ultramax. Like the all of the Fuji, what are they called? What was their budget? Superia, Fuji Superia, and can't remember some of the other ones. There's always a Kodak guy. How's it going, Matt? I'm hoping to pick up the Leica Monopan. The Leica store in DC told me they would be getting someone next month. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to try it out. I'm very curious. Um, I thought it was interesting, a 50 speed black and white film, because they, like, what's his name? I can't remember the lens designer's name. One of the guys at Leica that designs like the Noctilux lenses and all of that, like the Apo lenses, talking about the lenses being made to shoot wide open. So they wanted a slow speed black and white film so that you could, even in daylight, shoot with their lenses wide open, which I rarely find myself doing. Like obviously because I'm usually shooting 400 speed film, um, and I think that's another thing that I've really liked, or that I always appreciate when I load up a roll of film and I go out and shoot. It's like, oh yeah, I can't just use the crutch of I'm just gonna throw everything out of focus. Like if it's a portrait of somebody, if I run into a friend and I've only got my M6 with me, and I can't just open up to 1.4 and, you know, let it rip. Just a good way to, not get too lazy. That's the other thing. Digital cameras, as amazing as they are, if you're not being disciplined, it's so easy to get lazy, and to not have that same discipline uh, with the film cameras, just because you have to, with exposure in situations like that. Greetings from Canada. What's up, Peter? Steezy, thoughts on the new Ricoh? I've never had any of the Ricoh cameras, believe it or not. I've always been curious about them, but yeah, I tried the GR3, like a friend's. I got to mess around with one once, but haven't really spent any real time with it. The GR4, from everything I've seen, it's like it seemed to address a lot of the things that people had issues with, whether it be the autofocus or removing some of the buttons. or bringing back some of the buttons from the older models. Seems to be like they've answered a good amount of, what people wanted to see in a new camera, which is nice. I don't know. I mean, I think if they make a GR4X, then I would be interested. Although the GR3X is still a great option. You know what I mean? Like, that's still not an old camera. And even if it were, it doesn't make it bad. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think a 28 millimeter would be tough. That's why I've never bought any of the Q cameras. 40 millimeter, I would be much more comfortable with that day to day. So Molly actually really wants a point and shoot camera, or just something compact, something pocketable. And she got to try Kyle's Ricoh like years ago in DC, probably like, I don't even know, 2017, 2018. And she really wants something like that, but 28 for her, that's too wide as well. She wants something like a 40, so we'll see. Matt, I know this is a very controversial, triggering, polarizing topic that can be extremely divisive and alienating, but I have to ask, if you had to choose silver or black paint Leica MP, I have always preferred silver bodies on film cameras, but if I bought an MP, like a brand new one, I would for sure get it in black paint just for the brassing of it, because that would be a lifer. I've always said, that's like, I've said for years, like one day I'll get an MP as well, but I really don't think I ever will, because I've had the M6 for 12 years now, and I don't think I would like an MP. The shutter speed, I have the M6 TTL, and I bought it because I wanted the larger shutter speed dial, being able to adjust it with one finger as opposed to two. Not that you can't with the smaller dial, but for me, I just find it so much more comfortable. And yeah, I've had like upgrades done to it, like the MP Finder. I had the long focal length frame lines blacked out as well. So when I look through it, I only see either 28, a 35, or a 50. So I know I'm never going to really use any of the other lenses on my M6. So I just had those blacked out just to clean up the viewfinder even more. And yeah, it's like my ideal camera. I couldn't find anything that I would like more about a different one. I know about archival methods, but wondered if there are other choices. Oh, I must have missed. Okay. Wish to learn where people go to source archival photo presentation materials, storage boxes, folio folders. B&H Photo. That's where, although you said greetings from Canada, I mean, God, with all the shipping and tariffs and everything, who knows? But if you can shop from B&H, go with them. I've bought plenty of all of these white binders right here. These are all plastic archival binders from Bessler. So those keep all of my film negatives. But then you can even see like this little black box right here. They sell boxes just like this for prints at B&H, actual larger like print boxes themselves. B&H has all of that stuff. Can you tell us the next step for these papers? Yes. So, as you can see, they're starting to dry now. Basically, once they're dry, they're now so if you joined late or if you're new to cyanotypes, you've got two chemicals right here. You've got potassium ferrocyanide and ferric ammonium citrate. You take equal parts of these, equal-ish. You saw me mix these up. Equal-ish parts, and then mix that together. Coat the paper, let it dry, and now this is sensitive to UV light. So under all of my LED lights and everything here, it's not a big deal. But once it's dry, I take it out into the sun, place the negative in a well, I have a little like a contact sheet proofer that I put these in, but picture frame, just take it, sandwich it under some glass, and put some clips on there to keep it nice and tight and keep good pressure on the negative all the way across. And then take it out in the sunlight and expose it that way for a few minutes, depending on how much light there is and what kind of light or cloud coverage, if there is any. I try to print on just sunny days. Or you can use a UV light source, which I do have. Let me grab that. All right, so this thing right here, just a UV light panel. This was cheap on Amazon for 20, 30 bucks, something like that. But has a cord, you just plug it in, nice purple light, looks like a Cypress Hill concert, and you just let this UV light cook this print underneath it. You'd place it in the proofer and just put it directly underneath there, and then let it sit for, I haven't done a ton of testing because again, it's going to be a lot longer than if I were out in the sun. And one of the things I like about cyanotypes is I can just sit outside in direct sun, and it just feels good, you know? It's a nice, like, very relaxing and meditative kind of thing. So, yeah. But, I mean, probably like 20, 30 minutes maybe on something like that, as opposed to just, you know, 4 or 5 minutes on like a nice sunny day. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. You can don't buy cyanotype kits from Amazon. I was impatient and I was like, oh, there's a cheap little kit on Amazon. I really want to print like tomorrow. And I bought the chemicals and they were like already bad, basically. I mixed everything up, and you can see how everything is this like yellowish green color. It's like a shit green kind of color when you mix it up, and then it goes on yellow, it dries this kind of light green, and then when it's exposed to the sun, you're going to see that change, and it gets almost like a amber gold kind of color in some areas, and then it'll start to like gray out a little bit. Rinse it with water. That's when you see the image like come to life, and it turns this really deep blue. That's where blueprints came from. Was originally they were made with this process. That's why they're called blueprints, or were originally called that way. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah. The chemicals that I bought that were bad, as soon as I mixed them up, everything in here, it instantly just turned like deep blue. And I was like, oh, that's not a good sign. I know that's not how it's supposed to be. And I looked online and it said that, yeah, if your chemicals get mixed together and they already turn blue, you're instantly like, you know, your chemicals are compromised, basically. You know what I mean? You might as well just toss them out and start fresh. So where did I'm trying to think. Let me look up, just in case anyone watches the replay and are asking where I buy the chemicals. Matt Marash, I asked him. Artcraft Chemicals. That is where I buy everything now. Artcraft Chemicals, super good price, and everything works, so that's a plus. Currently at a Dodgers game watching the stream. Julian, you absolute legend. That's amazing. Booked a trip for Japan in the fall. Hell yeah, Sean. That's awesome. Have you ever been? I don't know where I want to go for my first time out of the country. Probably Germany. I really want to go to Ireland one day, but we'll see. I haven't even been to Canada or Mexico. I don't know if they would have me right now. I don't know if they would be very welcoming of an American. Javier, I don't want all my memories to look like I just came out of an eye exam. I want to see the whole scene when I look at an old picture. Absolutely. Twice in the last 6 years or so. Hell yeah. All of the photography that I see from Japan, it looks amazing. Yeah, the small pocketable digital camera offerings, Greg says, are limited. Uh, yeah, I Fuji is doing some odd things. Fuji feels like they're like really restructuring or like rethinking what they want to do. I feel like they really tried to like give the XE5 the Leica treatment. Like they went for more of a premium like design and materials and whatever aesthetic. Uh, and I don't know if they're gonna do an X Pro 4. I feel like they should. I feel like the X Pro series is severely underrated in the whole Fuji world, you know? Um, yeah, I don't know. Only bringing my X106 for digital, Leica M6, and Fuji GS645 for film. That's a solid kit. Yeah, and the XE5. The XE5 does look and feel really nice, though. That's the thing. I'm sure it does, for sure. Um, but it's weird. I don't know why they, like, the X70, I feel like they could have made a really good follow-up to that. Not that the X70 is bad, but with the point and shoot, like small pocket camera craze, the X70 seems like it was kind of doing what everyone wanted back then. You know what I mean? But if you gave it an upgrade on the sensor, the low light capabilities, the autofocus, all that stuff, I feel like that would be killer. Red, what's up? Planning my Japan trip for next year, watching Wim Winter's Perfect Days movie, 10 out of 10 recommend. I don't know that one. I'll look into that. I heard a slim rumor they may go full frame. If Fuji goes full frame, I think that would be a smart move. I feel like they're too stubborn to do that because they're too like, no, we're APS-C or medium format, and that's it. Like when people used to ask that, they'd be like, oh, just get our GFX if you want a bigger sensor. It's like, I don't want one that big. Just need a little bit bigger. So my 35 is a 35, not a 24 or whatever it would be on medium format. Going for portability. Yeah, packing light on a trip like that is always the move. On any trip, but especially like international travel, I would be M6 only probably if I went. Well, no, that's a lie. I would want to bring a digital of some kind. But the Z8 is a beast, and as much as I enjoy it, I'm usually carrying it like, just around here. I'm not traveling like that with it unless it's for like a wedding or something. I think they would have to redo their entire lens lineup. Don't think they will be doing. Yeah, that's another good point. They've already got that ecosystem and lenses available for how many years has it been? 14? Has it been 14 years since the X line came out when the original X100? Taking my M11 and M6 as travel companions. That would be the move. If I still had my M11, that would for sure be the move. I feel like eventually, once the M11 prices continue to go down on the used market, I'll probably end up with another one at some point down the road, but just not the priority right now. 28 millimeter and 35 millimeter respectively. Hell yeah. I was thinking today, I was shooting photos of forest, and I never enjoy 28, but I've tried it a couple of times on my M6, and I think the only time I really would enjoy it is specifically the family stuff, like just photos with the kids and of the kids. Um, as I was shooting photos of him today, and I was like trying to get really close, but every time I did, I was like, that's a little too, like, I'm losing certain things in the frame that I wanted. So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think 28 would work, but on a cue to just leave the house, 28 only. We don't have to get into the whole crop conversation, but I don't know. Why is the M11 so dang expensive? Honestly, I'm surprised to see, like, on the used market, it's not terrible already. Um, I don't know though. I don't. It's prices are hard to gauge right now. You know, the way everything is, I feel like stuff is all over the place. Greg, that's a good point. Truth be told, I'm almost thinking traveling with a digital is the move to not have to deal with getting film through security. Yeah, for international travel, I've heard people say it can be more of an issue. I've never had anyone give me any grief about doing a hand check going through TSA. Um, I'm polite and I smile and, please and thank you. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. That kind of thing. And they've never had an issue with it. They're always like, yep, no problem. And they take it. But I've heard that for international, you could beg and plead and they're just going to be like, no, don't care. It's going through the x-ray. So yeah, maybe for international, that would be tough. God, that would ruin my day. That would be something that would be in my mind the whole time. I'd be sitting there like just taking in this amazing view, and I'd be like, the film's probably going to be slightly muddy. Shadows are probably going to be cooked. It would just be eating away at me in my head. Cheapest film I could find is something called a Vibe Max, which some say to be Kodak 250D and 500T without the rim jet. Itching to try those out. Yeah, we were talking about the respooled films earlier. Uh, which oh, okay. They already. Sorry, I reread that now. Without the rim jet, meaning in my head I was reading that as without the rim jet being removed first, and I was like, okay, then what are you gonna do? But that makes sense. My film went through the X-ray and pictures came back fine. You could also buy film there. That's true, but getting the film back uh, is another thing. When I did go to New York, I bought instant film there and tried to shoot all of it. Didn't, and I forgot I still had a pack in the bag. And when I flew back, I realized that the Polaroid film went through the X-ray, and I've seen people get uh, film scans back that was X-rayed, and it was like 400 speed film, and it still got cooked. So I really think it just comes down to the specific machine and like the intensity of it, because I know people who have had no issues, and I've seen firsthand film get damaged that wasn't just 800 and above or whatever, like 400, 200 speed film. I've seen that get messed up from various scanners. So I don't know. My Polaroid film was messed up for sure, though. The colors were, everything was just like a really red purplish color. Not the usual Polaroid film wonky color, but like really wonky. So you could definitely tell it was messed up on there. Being old, I do like small and light. My full frame Nikons look mighty lonely in the back room. I do have to take the DF out for a walk once in a while. Yeah, the DF looks like it would be a lot of fun. I feel like I would enjoy that camera. I remember when it came out, I thought it looked rad, but never got to try one. The new machines that look more like an MRI machine are stronger, so fight for the hand check. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Uh, it's just it's too much of a risk whether you have shot the photos or shot the film at all or not yet. You know what I mean? It's just not worth the risk. I've got a book called Open by Morgan Ashcombe that reminds me of this. They had boxes of 4x5 film open to be searched at the border in Palestine in 2009. Wow. That's wild. I have a Morgan Ashcombe book called Leviathan uh, from Skatopia. Wild book, but that sounds Open sounds incredible. I've only done it once, so you're probably right. Too bad. Um, but what? Yeah, I mean, at least it saved you. You know what I mean, or at least you made it out. Or maybe you could ship it UPS or mail it back yourself. I guess that could be a little workaround for the exposed film. That's another thing that I've heard people do is they'll just ship the film back to their house, like when they're on their last day of their trip or whatever before they fly home. Um, but yeah, I can't afford a Leica, but I do love my XE4 and wish to add the XE5. I travel in pickpocket territory and carry a dirty bag to limit tempting eye candy. Also, gaffer tape logos. That's something that I have never really had to worry about, but I've heard that from people like just in certain places where they know internationally, like tourists are going to be going through there. Um, I was watching like an Instagram account where someone just like waits and watches for pickpockets in these areas and like films them doing it and just runs up on them and confronts them. And I was like, damn, it's that common and frequent that this dude can just sit there and watch and just like wait for it to happen. Um, I feel like I saw like, I don't know, a dozen people today when I was walking around town. That's an exaggeration, but you know, it's just, I'm not used to it. You can get film bags that very explicitly say "Do not X-ray." That add a bit of "No, guys, I'm really serious. Don't scan this." Yeah, Sissy Lou. She made these stickers. Uh, well, I think she might have. Did she make the stickers for a specific type of bag, or did she have the actual bags made? I can't remember. Um, I know she had the stickers made though, because I put that on a bag. Um, but yeah, basically saying like, don't X-ray the film. I usually just put it in a Ziploc bag though. She makes bags now too. Hell yeah. Yeah, I put mine on a Ziploc bag. I usually would just take a big gallon Ziploc bag and I put mine on that and just keep it like in the front pocket of my luggage. So that way, as soon as I get to TSA, I just easy to grab right there. Um, nice. She had the bag made and it comes with some stickers. Hell yeah. That's rad. Yeah, I think was it at Filmstock or maybe shortly after Filmstock that she had the stickers made and sent me one of those. Um, yeah, her work is great too. If you've never seen Sissy's work, she's got really rad stuff, really rad Polaroid stuff she's been doing lately too, which is sick. There we go. See if that one's still, these are mostly dry, mostly. Just don't use those lead bags. All they do is crank up the X-ray machine and nuke the film. That's another, yeah, I've heard that before too, where if you've got the lead bag, they're just going to be like, all right, we'll just move the needle a little bit, you know, just make it, you know, make it stronger. Let me see. 1 second here. I got to go grab something. Finally thinking of starting a website to sell prints. What's the single most important thing I should be ready to encounter? People not buying your prints. Not you specifically, but people will say it's a common thing. People will be like, "Oh, you should make prints of this. I would love that." And then those people will not buy a print when you put your prints on your website. I don't know why that is, but it is a thing that happens with photography, with art. Uh, yeah, people just don't buy prints as much as you would think, I guess. Aside from that, if you're going to be selling prints and shipping them, think about the shipping and how you're going to ship them and how you're going to do it safely and securely. Meaning, like, how are you going to get the print to the person without it getting damaged? That would be the other main thing to focus on. I'm thinking like logistically, you know what I mean? If you're wanting to think about like making a print and like that actual process, let me know. But I'm trying to think logistics, doing things that you're not used to. If you're a photographer and you're looking to start selling prints, you've probably already gone through the process of making prints. But if you've never shipped them, that's a whole other thing. So you could put it in like a mailing tube and roll the prints up that way. You could use stay flat mailers, which is what I typically do because most of the prints, for that reason, I like to ship 8x10, 8.5 by 11. I try to stick within that size range just because I like the ease of being able to make a nice rigid mailer. I've got some stay flat mailers, but I also slide cardboard sheets in there as well, just to make sure it's nice and rigid. I put do not bend stickers, like multiple do not bend stickers all over it because the mailman will still taco your print if they feel like they can. I try to make it as difficult and just as blatantly obvious as I can that I don't want this to be bent. And if the person gets their mail that's covered in do not bend stickers and it looks, like it's folded in half, I feel like they would try not to do that. I haven't had any issues since I started doing it that way, but if you don't do it, then that's something to look out for. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now. No, Vanzini. I said Sissy Lou, but Lucy Lumen is also got a great channel and also does rad stuff. Yeah, I've been in 3 to 4 galleries, mostly in cafes and things, and it's tough with photography. If someone can't relate to a photo or they haven't been to that mountain or city or whatever, it's hard to get them to buy. Absolutely. Yeah, the relatability, familiarity with like the certain subjects. If you're trying to sell prints, that's a good point. Yeah, more on like the business side of it, I guess. Like if you're wanting to be strategic about it, before you have a ton of prints made of just all of your favorite pictures, try to think of what people would want in their own house. If it's something really sentimental to you or like has a specific meaning behind it for you personally, it might not translate the same way. So yeah, that's a good point, Sean. Is it worth using a box and a bunch of peanuts? For a print, no. I wouldn't put a print in a box like that. I would want a print to be like sandwiched. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want it to be loose in anything. Yeah, I would try to get it sandwiched. Also putting it in, I usually have like a little 8.5 by 11 plastic mailer like bags. So I put that inside. I put the print in the sleeve, the plastic sleeve, and then I sandwich that into sheets of cardboard, and then that goes in a stay flat mailer. It's a rigid mailer, but it's still bendable. Like you could bend it if you wanted to. So that's why I add the cardboard in there, because then it's like it's solid. It's not going to get messed up, and that works really well. Oh, I did actually get new packing material for my books though, and that has been awesome. Being able to eliminate bubble wrap, it's like craft paper, but it's like like perforated in a way to where it stretches. You stretch it out and then it expands and it yeah. Let me just grab it. Hold on one sec. Let me move this. Plywood it is then. Yeah, exactly. No, I don't want that. Okay, there we are. I didn't realize the stay flats are right here behind me. This is a stay flat mailer that I use for prints. So it's rigid-ish, but obviously I could still totally fold that. So these with some sheets of cardboard, that goes a long way. But check this out. This roll, which takes up this much space when it's rolled up, if I were to wrap a book, take about that, and then you can kind of see there. Are you ready for this? Riveting television. Come on. It's satisfying, but more than anything, it works. Being able to protect the books in shipment and wrap them up in there, because once it's, you know, you can kind of see there. Once it actually pulls apart, it builds up a little bit, you know? So you do it this way once, and then you turn the book the other way and wrap it that direction as well. It's fully surrounded, fully wrapped up, and yeah, it's all compostable, recyclable. No more bubble wrap in the book orders. No more giant like wagon wheels of bubble wrap taking up space in the barn. Yeah, super excited about this. If I looked them up, it's insanely expensive. But if I could get a machine that you feed paper through to do this so that I could just recycle all the cardboard and, you know, stuff like that I've already got, that would be awesome. Question, would it be more meaningful to you to own a small collection of curated photos in a folio or a book? I personally prefer book. I prefer something that's bound, that gathers everything together. You know what I mean? Depending, I guess, small collection of curated photos, if it were for a gift for somebody, and you put together like a really nice way to present everything. But yeah, I still think I would prefer a book, just because a book is so like portable, passable. Like it's I like the object of a book. I like being able to just take something and hand it to somebody and put it in a bag, take it with you places. Whereas the object of something like that, if it is a more luxury kind of presentation, you know what I mean? Like if it's in a nice box and there's all the stuff with it, I lean more on the side of just putting it in a good book. I'm glad you guys like that wrap as much as I do. Do you find it's harder to sell your prints than it is to sell your books? I do. Yeah, I think definitely. Because I've sold thousands of books now, and I've absolutely not sold thousands of prints, even though the prints are often cheaper. Cheaper to buy, cheaper to ship, like just cheaper all around. Um, but at the same time, some people might look at it as, well, I'm getting all of these photos for this much money, or I can get just this one photo for this much money. Like some people might view it that way, as opposed to, well, do I want to have something on my wall, or do I want to have, again, something that I can have in my hands, something that I can share with people, something that I don't have to just see in one spot. And it's just a totally different experience. So there's a lot that goes into that, but yeah, I've found that I've been able to sell zines and books so much easier than selling prints, you know? To sell an individual photo, like a book is the sum of all parts, you know? I think there are individual photos in Surveyor and in Friend of Mine that would work as individual photos, but not all of them. Not with any book. Like I'd be hard pressed to find a book that every single photo, maybe not in any book, but like most books, I would say, unless you're looking at some kind of retrospective where it's really like the greatest hits. Oftentimes books are just, you're going to have different photos involved because you're not trying to, you're using the photos to relate to one another and to like thread things together, not just get the one shot that just stops people. You know what I mean? So it's just a different kind of thing. I don't know. Buying the paper mill to make paper wrap. Man, I went by today when I was walking, and it's like there's still people working in there despite not making paper. They've been cutting down and packing and shipping all of the stuff. A lot of the like final deliveries and everything people have been posting. Yeah, it's just wild. It's so much quieter over there in that area now. I'd put a vote in for book, but I know some photo projects have been packaged as separate sheets. Yeah, I've got like Mike Brody, his Polaroids. Was it called the Polaroid Kid? And it's a little box of Polaroid prints. That's a really cool, like, fun take on it. But I've had books before where it's like special slip cases and where there's like a whole thing involved, and I don't know, sometimes it works. Maybe a book is more definitive. Yeah, for sure. That's another good point about it, is like books are going to be definitive is a good way of putting it, because you're not changing it, you're not adding to it. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Books are just so expensive to make, and small print runs such a risk. It really is. It's tough. I haven't tried Mixam, but I've seen really good results from Mixam. It's not, it's all print on demand, but I've wanted to try their service for some zines. Although a local company I'm going to be working with on some zines as well. But Mixam has a lot of good options for something print on demand, and the quality, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something that you would get, that isn't print on demand, then your expectations aren't going to be met. But if you are leaning on, or if the priority is no cost to entry, like you don't have to put money down to make it. If you want to make one book, you can just go make it for the price of that one book. Obviously, if you buy more and you can get discounts on, the cost per book is going to go down. But those that seems like it seems like a better option than there was 10 years ago or 15 years ago, It feels like things like that are getting more and more accessible. I wanted to make 6 books, not super high page count for friends from an Iceland trip. Was like 100 a book. Damn. I guess I haven't looked at their book prices. I've looked at more of their zines and like soft cover stuff. But I think I did look at one of their like lay flat because I was like, oh, they do these too, and that was like crazy. Not crazy expensive, but obviously it's going to cost more. You know what I mean? I've made my photo books about places, people I care about. People will support photo books if the subject is bigger than the photographer and his work. Yeah, I mean that's what you kind of have to be, I guess, just realistic with things like zines or books. I mean, I really like. I'm lucky that I have a YouTube channel. I mean, I made it myself, so I'll take some credit for it, but it still just feels like I you know, I wouldn't make the books or zines or anything that I have, or at least just the amount that I have, without the YouTube channel. You know what I mean? There's really like, it's a small market of people that are buying photo books and zines in the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean? So, there's nothing wrong with starting small though. Just something small and modest. Going to be a similar friend group for Japan this fall. I want to come back and make a book of the memories. We shall see. That would be rad. That's a good idea for a trip like that. What's up, Matthew? New setup looks sick. Thank you. It's really not all that different, or it looks totally different, but I really just moved this little table over, and I put my standing desk. I raised it back up, and I put it over here. I feel a lot more comfortable sitting this way. Something about feng shui. I don't know what that means, but you know. It's more comfortable this way, facing this direction. So, but yeah. Tomorrow I'm going to be developing the Kentmere Pan 200, and I'll have some of that to share in the new video as well. But yeah, other than that, this week has gone by pretty fast. This whole month has gone by really fast. New video went up today, if you haven't seen it. Tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, if not tomorrow, Friday, my interview with Jason Lee and Tim Carpenter to talk about their book, Democratic Vistas. That'll be up. If not tomorrow, it'll be up Friday for sure. Excited for you guys to see that one, as well as the recent video, just kind of all about getting back to and also just starting new routines. I've just printed a zine with Mixam, 36 pages, 40 with the cover. It was around $26 with shipping and tax for three copies, decent quality but not perfect. That's the kind of thing that that's the kind of thing that I had with Blurb. MagCloud, not Blurb. With social distancing, there were occasionally copies that were printed that had some less than stellar quality, I guess, you know? And when that happens, you can email them and they'll immediately send a replacement copy to that person who orders. But still not ideal for sure. But again, that's the trade-off, you know, with the convenience comes those kind of sacrifices. Request random book pull. Okay. What do I want to look at right now? trying to find something. Trying to find something I haven't shared before. Here we go. Picture Summer on Kodak Film by Jason Fulford. Anybody know this one? I don't think I've ever shared it. I've had it for a while. It's a lot of pretty pictures. That's the best way I can describe it. Let me see here. Is that still on? No. I got to change the battery. I'll be right back, and then we'll dig into this. Hey, that's not right. 1 second. Maybe. Oh, come on. Not working. Sometimes it does this. All right, we're going to switch this. Nope. Come on. What's up, Vinny? I'm trying. That's all good, Spider. We'll get there. We'll get it figured out. Hey, there we are. Beautiful. Do I need... Let me raise this up a little bit. There we go. That should work. I feel like I need to adjust the color here because the color, I had to like reset this up. And so there we go. That log was still looking a little washed out. That's a little closer to what it actually is. It's a very vibrant color here. So this is Picture Summer on Kodak Film by Jason Fulford. Almost missed this because I was working on my own YouTube video. Hell yeah, Vinny. This book always makes me want to shoot color. Every time I look at this one, I'm like, how could I ever remove the color from a scene? It's just used really effectively and sort of selectively in a way, you know? That one is haunting. It's kind of hard to see. But if I just was walking past that, That would scare the hell out of me. That one too, the light hitting like all the condensation on the windows there. Or the dew. It says, fell down on my jog in a lot full of goldenrod. Didn't get up or shout out, the pollen choked my lungs. I'm lying next to a lone shoe and an empty pack of Player's Light. Nice. Deep diving into Ernst Haas and Saul Leiter for my NYC trip in a month. Love color film. There was a Saul Leiter book I was looking at not too long ago. Not looking at in person, but one that I wanted to buy. And I can't remember the name of it, but I don't have any Saul Leiter books, I don't think. Alex Oath's channel focuses on text and photos. How do you feel about text and monographs? I think it really just comes down to each individual book. Like sometimes it makes it's almost like in some situations the work wouldn't work without the context, without the words to accompany it. And sometimes it's not needed, you know? I personally, I don't know. Sometimes it works. I guess if you want my opinion, like I guess I lean on the side of some context, but don't give me too much. I like to, I don't know. I like to not necessarily make up my own stories, but part of the fun is like figuring out, you know, what's going on. Yeah, these like I said, everything, it's just like these small little vignettes, like these small little details of things. You know, like I don't know. I just love that isolated, like very, very selective thing about this. Like using these little weird prism filters, you know? Vinny, I'm not sure. I don't believe it says. Could be. I don't know. Some of them look like they could be, on sort of like a normal lens, but others look like they have a longer lens. And I'm trying to think if Rolleiflexes, if there were ever any long lens versions. So it could be something like a Hasselblad or even a Mamiya C330 if it were a TLR. Love that one. What's up, Anthony? You just said question mark. I think Jason. Oh, there goes my light. I forgot I was running on a V-mount battery. One sec. Let's see. Oh, what the hell? Did it just short? All right. I don't know what's going on. Oh, I must have missed that, Anthony. I don't see. Yeah, I'm scrolling up. I don't see it anywhere, Anthony. Sorry about that. Asked if this book makes you want to shoot more 6x6. Honestly, yeah, it does. The way, like, I don't know if it's just the way he composes, but these little, like, small little slices of scenes as opposed to like a big full scene. There's something I think that the 6x6 works really well with that, When was this? 2020. This was published by Mac. It's a good one. I hope you like that one, Spider. That was a different one from, I guess, from what I've shared recently, maybe. I was trying to think of one that I hadn't shared before, so I think Jason is shot with a Hasselblad for all of his work. Oh, right on. Good looking out, Carl. Good to see you. It already does for me, and I don't even own it. Hell yeah. Awesome. Glad you enjoyed that one, Spider. I hadn't looked at this one in a while, so I'm glad you asked because that made me want to look for something, something that I hadn't looked for or looked through, personally in a while. So now you're making me want to dig my Mamiya stuff out. Give it a go. If I still had mine, I would do it. So enjoy it. But that's going to be it for tonight's stream, guys. If you have any last minute questions or anything you want to shout out before we close off, but appreciate y'all hanging tonight. We've got Yeah, as soon as those next two books come in, I'll be sharing those. Although one of them is a pre-order, if not both, actually. Maybe that's why they haven't come in yet. Now that I think about it, I thought one of them was a pre-order so that the order would probably ship, like both of them would ship when they're all in, but maybe they're both pre-orders. So it might actually be a while on those. We'll see. How'd the book sales go this week? It went well. You probably can't tell, but the bookshelf has actually slimmed down quite a bit in the past week. I sold some absolute grail photo books, books that I didn't really want to sell, but it is what it is. We had the perfect storm of all possible like emergency fund things. It was like the emergency fund would have needed to have been stocked 10 times over. It was just things are okay now. Things are better now, but it is what it is. It's one of those things. So yeah, I sold quite a bit of books, and that took care of the issue, the unexpected financial hiccup. So the book sales were it went over well, and I also got a few book orders of my own this week as well, which was great. I might be wrong, but I've been thinking that the title of a book should give enough context, even if there's no notes. I get the idea behind that for sure. Coming up with a title is so hard, I think, because that's the whole identity. That's how you have to speak about it when you're talking about it, and you know what I mean, just like in common conversation. So like, yeah, you want it to be good. You know what I mean? There's a lot of pressure on the name. What is your favorite book this year so far? Good question, Carl. Favorite book this year? Ooh, I honestly haven't bought a ton this year in comparison to other years. Um, hmm. Man, I really don't know. Uh, Last Laughs by Elliot Erwitt, possibly, but I mean that's kind of a cop out answer. He's one of my all time favorites, so obviously. Um, but it being a book kind of all about the humor, I appreciate that because that's what drew me to his work in the first place. And yeah, that's probably the favorite this year, in all honesty. Um, Gotten a lot of zines this year that I liked. Kevin O'Mara walking the dog. Shout out to Jackie, R.I.P. Uh, yeah, that's gonna be my answer for now. Uh, yeah, Last Laughs by Elliot Erwitt. Kind of a cop out, but gotta be honest, that's what I love about his work in the first place. Gregory, I just bought everything for cyanotypes. Thanks. I love to hear it. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. Oh, the Sorgini book is out. Received mine a few weeks back. Not Rhino. I gotcha. I'm stoked to check that one out. I've been really looking forward to that book. Just her work in general. Like, I love when people are like, I just the whole like photographing your own family is something that I do. Obviously, it's like what I always encourage people to do is like just take photos of your own life. That's the most important thing. Um, but the way that she photographs like motherhood and things like that, it's so rad. I'm really stoked for that one. Um, Hands by Elliot Erwitt was the first time I laughed out loud looking at a photo book. Hell yeah, that's amazing. That's what I always loved about his work is the humor. So that makes sense. Stuck in Ohio. Hey, good to see you. Thank you for the stream. Thanks for hanging. Not a cop out. Thanks, Matt. Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate you all hanging with me. This was a fun one. We'll be back next week, Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. New video with Jason Lee and Tim Carpenter will be, again, if not tomorrow, it'll be out Friday, and then probably one more video will go up over the weekend, if not, early next week. But more videos on the way. I'll see you guys next week. In the meantime, enjoy yourselves. Love you all. And, yeah, enjoy the rest of your week.